Welcome to School Zone. I'm Shalise Clements, music specialist at Edwins Elementary, and today I have with me Sherry Harkins, one of our second grade teachers. As I said, we are from Edwins Elementary, one of our first elementary schools in the district, and one of only 2 fine and performing art schools in our district. We are very honored to have that title. We're here today to highlight some of our programs. Our music program, our art program, and then Sherry's going to speak about our green space and the Urban Agriculture Club. So let me hit a little bit on our music program. We're very honored, lucky that our students get music once a week for 50 minutes, along with art for 50 minutes once a week, and then PE 3 days a week for 50 minutes. Part of our music program, all of our students get the opportunity throughout the year to perform. Every grade level does a grade level performance, as well as our most exciting opportunity for our students, I think, is the 5th grade band program. What an honor it is that Mr. Folsom from the high school, from Fort Walton Beach High School, is willing to volunteer his time in the mornings and offer our students 3 days a week the opportunity to learn those instruments before they're over at the middle school. I know that you, even though I'm the music teacher, as a former 5th grade teacher, you used to get to go over there with them and see some of them. Will you talk just a little bit about what you saw?
Oh, absolutely. Mr. Folsom is a generous man, and it's because he is trying so hard to build the student base for music and performance all the way through up to he reaps the benefits when those kids get up there to high school.
Sure.
And not only do they're more advanced musically, but they have already built that relationship with Mr. Folsom, and it's almost like coming home to him when they get to high school. So we've had a lot of students go through this program. They usually have a performance once or twice during the year, and again, it's instrumentation, beginning instrumentation. When they get to Bruner, Mr. Laborde really uses those students as leaders in the beginning band program, and then of course they proceed to be leaders all the way through high school. So it's been a really huge benefit to our 5th grade music students.
I love when they will come and tell me, I'm playing the French horn or I'm playing the clarinet. It's exciting for me to hear exactly what instrument they play. Mm-hmm. And then as we go over things in class, they start to go, in band, that'll help me. And I'm like, yes! So it's so exciting. We're just very musical over at Edwins. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the art program. As I said, our students get to go to art once a week as well. Our big thing about art, which I think is, I don't know of very many of any other schools that do this. I mean, I'm sure there maybe are, but we have our annual art night that is at the end of the year. That's a year-long process for the students and teachers.
Yeah, that's right.
So every student has 2 pieces of artwork that is highlighted in our gallery store on art night. They have a 2-dimensional piece and a 3-dimensional piece, so a painting or a drawing and a piece of clay or ceramics. And they get to purchase those, so everything is displayed like a big around our cafeteria.
Very professional.
On the walls, like an art gallery, and they can go around and look at the art, find their art, and then they get to purchase that art. So now they are artists. It makes them feel more accomplished. And then we also have a silent auction, which our teachers,
it's highly competitive.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Our teachers work year-long with the students in creating a piece that goes into the silent auction, and then those pieces are auctioned off throughout the night. Other teachers, it is open to the community, so we invite any community members that would like to come, district members, as well as in our silent auction, we have several donation pieces from local artists around our community that donate pieces for us to auction off. And then all of the proceeds go back into the art department for supplies and materials and things like that. So in May, it's always in May, we invite you to come out and check out our art night, which will put more things out there in the district.
And Fort Walton Beach High School Jazz Band is usually performing, and it's a beautiful evening little concert, mini concert. So, again, we enjoy the support of Fort Walton Beach Band all the way through the year.
Yes. Yeah. So I think that's all I have to share today. I really want us to highlight our green space and our Urban Ag Club. So will you talk about that?
I sure will. I can talk about it all day long. Okay, so about 10 years ago, we were very blessed when the Choctawhatchee Basin Alliance helped to write a grant, and we were the recipients of a fantastic greenhouse. I'm talking state-of-the-art, best one in Northwest Florida. I've had people off the street stop and say, I've heard you have this fantastic greenhouse. Can we see it? It's automated, it's fully automated, and we have made good use of our greenhouse. So in addition to that piece, once it was in place, I started thinking, okay, how are we going to use the greenhouse? So I started looking into other grant writing opportunities, and I wrote a grant for a Lowe's Toolbox for Education grant, and we were awarded a little over $5,000, and with that money, we built our raised beds. And so we have 6 raised beds with watering systems in place. So we start our plants and everything in the greenhouse and move them out into our raised beds. But that wasn't enough, because although it did allow the children the opportunity to see how plants grow and how you start plants and how they are able to yield, that's not something they could do at home. We're a full Title I school. We have some very not only economically challenged families, but they live in such a variety of different spaces. And I started thinking and realizing that, we have literally children who live in hotel rooms, apartment buildings. They move frequently. So how can I help those children take what they learn here and take it home with them? So I began teaching alternate container gardening. And I've got a little slideshow that I'm using to take you through this. And so why alternate containers? Well, it provides growing things with poor soil conditions. And where we are in our school, it's sandy soil. You really can't grow much of anything that will produce fruit or vegetables. Well, we have a mobile population. It's more expensive. To plant in a large bed, think of the cost of constructing that bed. Well, in container gardens, they can be really inexpensive. They can be just about anything. It allows a wide variety of planters and containers, and it's very simple. So we keep it simple, and I mean very simple, and you'll see as we go along. For example, this is the perfect time of year for you to start this project, because it's the fall and people use straw bales for decorations, and then they don't know what to do with them after they're finished. So put those to the side where you think you might want to start a straw bale garden and let them age, because that's what they need. They need to begin to decompose naturally, and then there's a certain preparation about a month prior to your planting where you add supplements and fertilizers to condition the bales. But start keeping those straw bales now, because you'll appreciate it in the spring. So in this slide, you'll see that our straw bale garden, we grow things like I've grown a lot of things in straw bales. It's hard to say. Pepper plants and squash. This year we had tomatoes and watermelons growing in straw bales. So it's really limitless as to what you can grow in a straw bale. We use laundry baskets for a lot of things, and we grow potatoes in laundry baskets. It's a simple process, and the yield is really quite impressive for such a small container. This year we did sweet potatoes also, and just last week in urban agriculture we flipped the baskets we had planted in the spring, and we found our little treasures. The kids it's like a treasure hunt when they flip those baskets. Wow. And they dug out those sweet potatoes, and actually they went into a kindergarten class science table so that they could see tubers. And they learned the difference between a root crop and what a tuber is. So it's a lot of fun too. It's just a lot of fun to see those grow.
I loved the tomatoes that last year in May that were planted in the laundry baskets.
Yes. Miss
Mine-
Clements was a recipient of a few of
Good,
those.
yep.
Last year, it was an amazing accomplishment. I was actually the science lab instructor for the whole school last year, which enabled me to do a lot more with the greenhouse. Unfortunately, funding was not there for that position this year. I'm praying and hoping that next year we're going to have the funds for that fully staffed science lab again, because it was an amazing opportunity for the children and for me. And but the big project for last year were the tomato plants.
Tomatoes.
We grew. We planted the seeds and grew. I mean, repotting, separating, and everything. Every step of the way, over 500 tomato plants. Every student in the school took their tomato plant home with directions on how to grow it. We had a lot in laundry baskets showing them how inexpensive it is to grow their tomato plants in laundry baskets. And this year, the stories that I am getting from students every single day, my tomato plant is 6 feet high, and they're still producing. So anyway, it was a fantastic program, and I do hope we will be planting in the greenhouse this winter for spring as well. It will be ongoing. Here is this picture shows our laundry baskets when the potatoes were ready to flip, because it was amazing to me how tall they grew. And they have these beautiful purple little flowers when they bloom. And the students look at that. Oh yeah, beautiful purple little flowers. And when the students look at those, and they're just they can't even imagine at this point what's going on underground, even though we talk about, okay, the crop is actually forming underground. But when they flip them, it is truly amazing. Other alternate containers that we have active now or in the past that we will bring back in the spring. Pellet gardening is fun. Pellet gardening is simple, and it is so easy to move around. That's why it's perfect for some of those small housing places. You know, those balconies, you know, the front porch even of a hotel room.
Right.
You can get small pallets and do a smaller garden or a bigger pallet. And all we do is make a pocket for the soil, and you have to just make sure you keep it moist. It's really great that it's mobile, because in the spring, when you need a lot of sun, when it's not too hot, you can give full sun. But when it gets too hot, you can move it into the shady areas so that the herbs do well all the way through the fall. This is fun. This is a gutter garden. Now, with our gutter garden, it's exactly what it says it is. It is a gutter. All I did was go to Lowe's and Home Depot, pick up a piece of guttering and put the ends on it, drill some holes in the bottom, and wire it to the fence. And you have to plant a shallow root crop in there. This on the top that's shown here on the top is lettuce.
Oh.
And it's red-seeded Simpson. It's the name of the kind of lettuce that I grow, but it's a loose leaf lettuce. And it's really cool because you can take your scissors and just cut it off, and it'll keep growing.
Wow.
It'll grow back. So it's really interesting. And then at the bottom, I have some marigolds planted there. And the only thing that you really have to make sure you consider when you're using the gutter garden is the depth of the root system. You can't put anything in there that needs a deep root. So that's about the only thing. But it's really cool. And again, it can be used in a variety of different places. So this was a big project for us, and I do not have a current picture, but it is completed, and it is growing, and it is bearing fruit and vegetables every year now. But we began an African keyhole garden to bring a little diversity into our space. And we did some research. So the urban agriculture students, we researched the African keyhole garden, which was originally started in Uganda by an organization called Save a Cow. And this design was established there, and it is a self-feeding raised bed gardening system with a compost in the middle, why it's called a keyhole garden, because if you look at it from the top, you have an opening to get to the compost bin.
Oh.
So it looks like a keyhole.
A keyhole.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So it makes sense. But the reason it was started in this arid country is because they either have drought or monsoon. Okay. So with this bed, during the drought, they could tent over the compost bin to save the nutrients from being depleted. And then during the drought, if you water through the compost, it also acts to feed the bed and water the bed. So This is super cool because anybody can build one of these. Our kids built ours completely from scratch. And they were with donated block, but the outside can be any kind of material that you want. In Africa, they weave branches and they make literally a basket. So it can be any kind of material. It's really just the main thing is that you have the right circumference, you have the compost bin in the middle, and that it's able to send those nutrients out. So it's really interesting, and it provides a global perspective for our students. They need to see that things are different in other places in the world.
Right.
So the necessity for that in those places, it just brings the world a little closer to them. So these are pictures of us actually doing our construction. Look at our kids. They moved those blocks, and they were heavy.
They were.
They were heavy blocks.
Those look like heavy blocks.
Yeah, they had to measure. They did a lot of work. There's a picture of our semi-constructed bed. It was almost finished. All right, so I try to teach kids why gardening is important. First of all, one of my key phrases is to supplement your table. We don't expect our children to grow everything that they're going to eat, but they can grow something to supplement their table, even if it's tomatoes or peppers or whatever. And the pride that they get from doing that is amazing. But these really are reasons, physical reasons, why gardening is good for you. Increased levels of serotonin. That's why so many people garden as a hobby. It's like an antidepressant. Really, it builds your immune system. I say gardening without gloves. I tell my kids to get in there and get their hands dirty. And it does help build their immune system.
Sure.
It lowers your stress levels, and it lowers your risk of dementia. The older I get, the more important that becomes. And it is good low impact exercise. And believe me, when those children are finished at Urban Agriculture Club, they're tired.
Oh, yeah.
They have worked hard. And then again, nutrition. They will eat anything they grow. And when I say anything, I mean anything. We have eaten collard greens and eggplants.
It always amazes me they're so willing to try it because they've grown it.
That's right.
But if somebody else offers them to it,
But we cook collard greens every year. And I bring my big electric skillet and we cook collard greens, and there are never any left. They eat every one that we cook. It's amazing. All right, so all our kids are agriculturalists. We all are, really. We all reap the benefits of agriculture, so we should know more about it. So we need to know. No one is an expert. I'm not an expert. Everything we do is an experiment. And it works sometimes, and sometimes it does not. So we tear it out and start over again. And we always try something new. We never give up. And this is one of the things our school is working on. We never give up.
Right.
The growth mindset approach to learning everything is right here, can be evidenced in our green space. We never give up. We keep trying. Get dirty, have fun, get those hands in the dirt. When you go back to the science of it, our green space has enabled us to learn so many different things, and this was the coolest. This is the coolest. I had the ability to photograph the complete life cycle of a ladybug and teach them that it's nature's pest control.
Oh, wow.
So we don't use any harsh chemicals in our green space. We try to keep everything natural and organic. So I literally, believe it or not, you can buy ladybugs on Amazon. I bought 15,000 ladybugs and came in a box, no kidding.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so we did a release to teach the children that this is a natural way to combat the aphids that were eating our milkweed, actually.
Oh, okay.
So, and that's why we ordered them. And so soon after that, like a couple of months, I happened to be in the green space, and it was amazing. It was the life cycle in completion right there in front of
cool.
me. It's hard to see. The little green guys are the aphids. They're the target. Okay, so the mature ladybug is eating those aphids, and then the larva of a ladybug is so cool looking, you'd never know it was a ladybug. It is freaky looking, and the kids just go crazy. We find them a lot on the back leaves of eggplants, and when they do, I'm like so excited. And I said, okay, we have to leave our friends alone because they are doing their job.
Yeah.
But the kids get so excited. Then they look for every ladybug larva they can find on every plant, because this is a ladybug pupa.
Oh.
Is that not the coolest looking thing? Listen,
It is
it
really
does
weird
not
looking.
stay bright yellow very long. I didn't realize this at first. But when it first turns into the pupa stage, it is this awesome color. And then it eventually turns to like just a neutral color. But when the mature ladybug is ready, she splits it and backs out
Oh, wow.
as a little ladybug, and she goes on her way. But the fact that our kids get to see this,
Yeah.
I mean, not just in a little container on your science desk, but out in
the-
our green space is amazing. And I venture to say there aren't very many kids who have that opportunity. And we also do the life cycle of the monarch butterfly with our butterfly garden.
Yes.
Other things that we do, you know, I'm all about life cycles.
I know.
We hatch our
Those
little
milk
chickens
chicks. They're
every
so
year.
cute every year.
We do, and the kids absolutely, they ask me about it all the time. We do our monarchs, and they do come, I usually am able to retrieve some of the caterpillars from our green space or the butterfly garden, and we follow that. So again, this is just some of the stuff that I always get into our kids' heads. I don't want them to ever be afraid to try something. I want them to know that they're able to supplement their table. Gardening without gloves is good. Get your hands dirty. Grow something. It doesn't matter what it is. Just grow something. And never be afraid of dirt. Dirt's our friend. We also, in the summertime, when the kids leave, sometimes I'm left with all this produce because that's when everything's cranking up. Well, our Urban Agriculture Club, a lot of times I can get a few of my students to volunteer to go to the farmer's market with me. And I'll set up a little table like this, and I will give away the produce, and we have some brochures and stuff. And I just try to tell people what we're doing because you know what? They want to know.
Right.
They want to know. And I don't think there's been one person that I've ever talked to that hasn't been amazed at what the program is and supportive of what we do. We take up donations at the farmers market just to help us keep on going with buying seeds and soil and soil and soil
Right.
and soil because we supplement our soil every time we go on. Our fifth graders also, this is also part of our agriculture program, but we participate in the Grasses and Classes program that is through the Chattahoochee Basin Alliance. And this is really cool because we grow smooth cordgrass on our campus right there in our green space. And the students learn how to check the salinity levels of the water, use a refractometer, which is really cool.
Wow.
And they learn, we keep those, maintain that growth through the year. And we have student teachers coming in and teaching about the ecological advantages of taking care of our waterways and our watershed. And it's amazing. The lessons are phenomenal, and the kids get so much out of them. And it culminates in a field trip down to Liza Jackson. We walk down there, and the kids get to, and this is so cool, sprig burlap bags with the smooth cordgrass and carry them and put them in the water
Oh, wow.
where they are restoring the shoreline.
So they're helping.
They are building our waterways and
Wow.
keeping them safe. They learn that they're nurseries for all these little small fish and shrimp, and we take little seine nets, and they get to look at those, what's happening there in the grass beds. Of course, you know, we've been impacted some in negative ways by the oil spill and all this. By taking care of your coastal grasses, it helps to purify your water and improve the water quality. So the kids learn all of that stuff. And these are some pictures of our kids in the process. This is a refractometer. It is a really cool instrument. If you've never used one before, you feel really scientific when you're holding it. They learn how to check the salinity of water. They have to sprig those bags. And I'm telling you, this is a phenomenal program that we are actually able to participate in. There we are. That's the area where we're refurbishing. And so the kids, they get to reap the fruits of their labor when we harvest. In our Urban Agriculture Club, we meet twice a month. And that gives us time to work those beds and those alternate containers and work in the greenhouse and learn all about why we should do that and what's important to learn where your food comes from. and all kinds of food. And it's not on the shelf from the grocery store. It doesn't magically show up there.
Right.
It has to come from somewhere. So we want them to know how it gets there and how they can help to supplement their table and enjoy all of the things that we do as a club. And not just as a club, but for each classroom to be able to come out to work in the green space with their teachers. We even have an outdoor classroom that was built of recycled benches from the old football field. And I like to take my class out there just to read. It's such a peaceful place. So our green space is utilized by a lot of different classrooms all the time, and our kids in urban ag. The urban ag club is for students 3rd through 5th grade, and I am always looking for volunteers. Always. We are fortunate that we have a master gardener. Linda Penry is our contact person. Dr. Penry used to work at Edwins as a math instructor, and so we're happy to have her come in and work with us. And then the Florida Extension Office, University of Florida Extension Office, also helps us with soil testing. And then I've been fortunate to be able to present for them in some different places. And I use ag in the classroom a lot, materials a lot, and I have had the honor of presenting at the National Ag in the Classroom conferences. So you can see that this is my true passion, and I carry it over however I can into the classroom. My kids will be writing in their journals all about what we're growing. Yeah. Teaching 2nd grade ELA, but we're still going to be growing things in the greenhouse.
You can carry it over. Thank you for listening to our highlights about our programs at Edwins Elementary, and we hope you have a great day.